Families have a lot going on. Let Ollie help manage the mental load with new cognitive help supplements for everyone 4 and up, like delicious Lolly Focus Pops or Lolly Mellow Pops for kids. And for parents, try 3 new Brainy Chews to help you focus, chill out, or get energized. Find these cognitive health buddies for the whole fam at ollie.com. That's OLLY.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Your discretion is advised.
Savaged, unfiltered. Your host, Michael Gardner.
Hey, Jason, what's up, bud?
Hey, sorry I'm a couple minutes late. The news was just breaking about Kanye to acquire the Parler social media, so I had to post about that across my 13 social media sites.
Oh, wow. Yeah, at least you're still on 13. It looks like they're trying to bury me or something, man.
I know. Yeah, I posted it on Instagram and I tagged you because, I know you were saying that Twitter suspended you again the other day, right?
Well, they didn't suspend me. They freaking locked my account, Joseph.
Oh, okay. You know what?
Yeah,
and I responded to you, and let me say this to the audience. I think this is some last-ditch effort by some ultra-liberal loon employees at Twitter, as I call it, that know darn well they're going to be fired. So they're blocking and censoring and they're locking and suspending at an increased rate a bunch of conservatives, knowing they're going to be on their way out the door, and to leave a massive mess for Elon and whatever new, hopefully impartial crew of people he hires to have to clean up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I noticed something, when I post something, because it's been about 2 days, folks, since I lost the account. I mean, literally, it was like literally the day after I signed up for Twitter, I get like a notification message, and it says that your account has been locked due to sensitive material and dangerous rhetoric. They use those words, Joseph. Like they're saying they're wrong with me. So anyways, what can you do, right? You can't really do much about it. Hopefully, when Elon Musk, officially takes over the damn platform, we'll see it more of a free speech market. But right now, free speech does not exist on Twitter or any other platforms like Facebook or Instagram, for that matter.
Yeah, I'm going to wait to appeal my suspension until such time as Elon has time to get in, take over, fire people, hire new ones. And then I may get a fair shake sometime next year to being restored, because I've been on there since 2006. I've got a lot of content there. I don't want to lose it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just signed up. I mean, hell, we didn't even hit like 1,000, the 1,000 mark with followers, because literally it was like the first day, and then the second day we got that notification, and I'm like, what the hell is this? They're fucking pulling the plug, and they're like, that was it, man. It was a post that I posted with what the hell was it? I'm trying to remember what the hell it was. Oh, there was a rally that. Well, it wasn't really a rally. It was more like people showing up because they're, fed up with Joe Biden. And he was coming into town in this California town. And I posted that, and I guess Twitter sees it as, somewhat of harassment or, a threat or this or that. I mean, I guess I can't express my patriotic views, right?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. So, Joseph, about another, what do we have? Another 15, 20 minutes before Lance comes in here. We have a gentleman by the name of Lance Hillsinger, guys, joining us. He wrote his book, Build a Better Bridge for Social Policy of the 21st Century. That should be an interesting conversation we have with him on that, because there's a lot of things I want to ask Mr. Hillsinger on why he decided to write a book like that, because obviously, Joseph, this ties into welfare and, today's welfare system. And I'm told that a lot of that is inside of his book. So interesting conversation we have with Mr. Hillsinger, because obviously you're an author yourself and you could tie into a lot of, material with that as well too. So,
yeah, but his stuff seems pretty political. So, we won't have to shy away from that.
Oh, highly political. Yeah, he's been on a lot of podcast episodes, a lot of podcast platforms. God, I think he's doing like maybe 10 or 20 a week, kind of similar to the person I had not too long ago, Mr. Vic Vieri, and which I got yelled at by I guess one of the people that work for him or something. It's Vieri, Michael, not Vieira. I kept on calling him Vieira, and I thought there was an I at the end instead of an A, but it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, those things are going to happen, right? So,
yeah, it is what it is.
It is. With my last name, Lenard, Leonard, people always want to pronounce it Leonard. So, you just got to go with the flow.
Yeah. Yeah, according to some news here, we talked about some news earlier in the episode today. There's a mayor right now in Florida, Joseph. Obviously, I'm not sure if you have heard about this, up in your neck of the woods there in Detroit, but Indy Atlantic mayor right now in Florida is facing a suspension. They're requesting the suspension of the Indy Atlantic mayor, which that section happens to circle around Brevard County, which actually circles around a huge area called Melbourne, Florida. And this is coming out of the Brevard County Commission has called for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to suspend Indy Atlantic Mayor Dave Bergman from the office after he allegedly struck a political candidate with whom he had a long-time feud with in the face. Get this, Joseph, with a rake. He hit him with a rake.
Now, you're going to have to explain this to me if you even fully know. I understand governors, and true in Florida for DeSantis, have the power to indeed remove a district attorney or an attorney general that is not upholding the Constitution and the state laws. But a particular mayor, and you're using the word suspend versus the people getting to attempt to recall him, I don't know about the validity and legality of that, and they may be confusing that he has power to do that for DAs because that's a law enforcement thing, whereas a mayor is a different animal. I don't know whether he does or does not have the authority. Have you checked with any legal counsel to see if that is indeed true?
Yeah, well, the report came out yesterday on Fox here in Orlando, and basically it says that the Indy Atlantic Police have charged Mayor Bergman with battery after the September 30th rake incident. So this goes back like a couple weeks ago, which occurred during the Hurricane Ian cleanup event at Orlando Park, which is in Indy Atlantic. Now, get this here, folks. The county commissioner office there literally came to a resolution asking Governor DeSantis to immediately suspend. Well, they're asking for a suspension rather than a recall, or anything else. He's getting a slap on the wrist, if you ask me, by a 3-1 vote.
A suspension versus a removal. Yeah, I don't know what that legally then does for the city. Would the lieutenant mayor probably, or the pro tem of their council would probably take over. But here's my problem with it. You have innocence until proven guilty. I don't know if the authority would actually exist until he's actually convicted of the crime, whereas now it's an alleged incident, even though it's probably clear to everybody it happened.
Hello?
Well, Joseph, did you hear that it was won by a 3-1 vote? So, and this was during an October 6th zoning meeting with Commissioner John Tobia, who wrote the resolution, said he would drop off a copy Wednesday, later that week, which was about a week ago, actually, to this day, at the Indy Atlantic Town Hall. Now, on the flip side of this, Joseph, the town council literally came up with a resolution that Wednesday commending Berkman's 18 years of town hall service. So the reason why they're giving him a slap on the wrist, folks, is because he has a really, really good service with the community of 18 years. But still, it's a charge.
It's time.
We've got a global fan event to launch. Drum roll, please.
Are you ready for To-Doom?
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Today I get to share a special gift.
It's happening.
Coming at you right now.
To-Doom is back.
Let's reveal some steamy secrets, shall we?
I'm very excited for you guys to see it.
I'll meet you there. Check out the news you've been waiting for.
Get ready for some action.
Bonjour, To-Doom.
It's time.
Let me tell you what you're about to witness.
I'm so excited to introduce my new movie.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into making this.
Here's a sneak peek behind the scenes.
It's very exciting,
Yes. Hola, hola.
Thanks for joining us.
Let's get down to business.
It's happening.
It's magical.
Se viene, gente. Se viene.
I'm into it, babe. I'm into it.
Go time.
Take it away.
Get ready to have your world turned upside down.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Ready.
Ready.
Because we're sounding the alarm. In 5,
4, 3,
2, 1. Positions, everyone.
We got this. Right?
Savaged, unfiltered.
The battery. Do you think he should go to jail for that, or they just kind of like, it happened. He's got a little angry.
Yeah, well, I mean, with all this defund the police and the left soft on crime and no bail and all that, I think it would be, our leaders have to lead by example. And if he can be convicted of this, and again, it sounds like enough people are aware that it actually happened, and then if there are witnesses that it should be easy to quickly convict them, they probably should. Now, if
She goes, well, I don't expect you to understand. You're
they
from the
let
South.
him off soft, okay, a one-time thing and a fit of anger and all that, first-time offender, as opposed to all these repeat offenders they keep letting out. I could see letting them off the slap on the wrist. But, yeah, make sure he's convicted of it so it's on the record. And we're on the record as being rule of law. And we are going to punish criminals. Would be a good thing.
Joseph, I just read into this. Governor Ron DeSantis does have the power to remove him because Ron DeSantis would be over that as a jurisdiction status. So he does have the power to remove him. But you got to remember something here. Berkman, folks, has served as a mayor of this town of Indy Atlantic in Brevard County since 2008. Now get this, Joseph. His reelection is on the November ballot next month, which his term ends on December 7th. and his opponent Mark McDermott is supposed to be running against him. Now, if he does get removed from the office of mayor, right, for that town, we could see McDermott replace him in a special elections, which could happen right before the November elections that take place. So you never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never know. But here's the thing. Here, like I said, we just reached out to Mr. Hillsinger, so he should be joining us here momentarily in the next 10 minutes. But I want to go into a little bit with this, folks. To kind of keep the show going until we get Mr. Lance Hillsinger in. During the September 30th park cleanup, Berkman entered a not guilty plea and waived arraignment just last week. Now, folks, this battery is a first-degree misdemeanor and punishable up to 1 year in jail with a $1,000 fine here in the state of Florida. You hit somebody, you're facing 1 year in jail. It's a first-degree misdemeanor crime, and just because you're a mayor, you should face the consequences, right, Joseph?
Exactly.
So I don't want to tie too much into this. I just wanted to throw that out there so the listeners, get a little local Florida news. But guys, without further ado here, I want to bring in our guest here on hour one here, Mr. Lance Hillsinger, the author of his book here, Build a Better Bridge, Social Policy for the 21st Century. Welcome to Savage Unfiltered, sir. How you doing, Mr. Hillsinger?
I'm doing fine, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for being part of the show. I want to get into some topics with you, buddy, about some of your work and some of your book that you had wrote in this social policy here. And before I get into that, I see that you're a social worker of 34 years. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. That's what made you get into the industry? I'm sorry, San Francisco
County.
Oh, okay. Okay. What made you get into the industry?
More luck than anything else. I was a recent graduate of Vanderbilt. I was looking for work. I was, or a better job. And I managed to just find this at the Hall of Records back in the pre-internet days. Found this job listing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Joining me here, Lance, is the co-host here on Monday and Wednesdays here, which is also part of the show here, Mr. Joseph M. Leonard. He's the author of Terror Strikes Coming to a City Near You. Joseph, you got any questions here for Lance?
Yeah, actually, I know we're here to talk about the other book, but in full disclosure, I've not read your books, but I've looked into them, and I looked into the Look Inside feature of your In Place of the Parent book via the Amazon Look Inside feature, and I see where you say grammatically a child can have just a single best interest. The legal code in its binary thinking follows this grammatical convention. And you kind of then go on to say about how it indeed is in the best interest to receive formal moral instruction and live in a safe neighborhood, go to others, whatever, that you have to look at a whole picture, not one single focus. And I agree with you wholeheartedly on that the system does not really do our children well when they enter them.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a point I wanted to make, but a lot of people have missed that. I think a child has best interests, plural, and the legal system calls it a best interest. And that's one of the things I would like to see changed. I think in practice, though, that judges do look at the whole picture. I just think that grammatically we ought to agree with what the right thing is to do.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I agree. And since we're on this subject, the legal system, and some of this of these issues that we face today, Lance, what do you think should be done with this welfare system? Because I mean, we're seeing it, changing at a rapid rate. Obviously, you could see that. I'm not sure exactly where you live, but here in the state of Florida, we see it, changing very, very rapidly. Like as a social worker of 34 years, do you see it improving, or do you see it, getting worse than it actually is now?
Well, I actually think, well, a lot has to do with people. If you have good people, they can make a bad system work a little bit better. If you have a good system, as far as that, I think that the people who I've seen in San Luis Obispo County are very dedicated employees. I think that you have a situation here where you have 10% of America lives in poverty. And if we didn't have some sort of welfare system, what would happen? We would see not just men begging on the street, panhandling. We'd see sad families, and once in a while, you do see that still.
Oh yeah, I can see that. If I may, 1 second, you mentioned men on the street. I see that you live in California, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I just seen something come out the other day on Instagram, a video of just the homeless, in LA County, which is at almost a 30-year high, which ties into the welfare system very heavily. I don't know how far you live from LA County, but I mean, do you see, that county improving? Because I don't see it improving, Lance. I see it going, to pretty much a shithole of the nation. You know what I mean?
Well, just to give you a sense of geography, I'm about 90 minutes north of Santa Barbara. And Santa Barbara, on a good day is about 2.5 hours without traffic north of Los Angeles, depending upon where you're going, of course. We have a homeless population.
Gardner, uncut, raw,
here in San Luis Obispo, it's a very expensive place to live. And one of the things that I make a point is, if you see a homeless person on the street, it's usually a man. And I think that that's one of the things we have to look at, is that they talk a lot about gender inequality. Well, at the bottom of the rung, the gender inequality is men. The truly unhoused are more often to be men. I mean, people living under a bridge, on a street corner, by the creek. There are families, there are women, but it's more often men. Men in jail, for each woman in jail that's incarcerated, there's about 10 or 11 men incarcerated. And that's how I saw as a social worker, field welfare. So many of my men in my caseload were unsuccessful. Of course, that's what we dealt with, was unsuccessful people who had drug problems and what have you. But why were they unsuccessful? What happened that caused this thing to be unsuccessful? And of course,
I could agree with that. I mean, but you got to admit here, Lance, some of this welfare system that we see today, in America, especially the 21st century, we see it circling around diversity very high. Everything is about diversity now with welfare. It never used to be like that. The 60s, yeah, maybe 70s, lightly. But I mean, now it's, they love to play that race card with it. Where, we have more blacks on welfare than whites, and this and that. That's actually true. Why do you think we see more blacks on welfare more days than it used to be?
I don't know as far as the percentage. Yes, you're right. People of color or non-white, whichever terminology you want to use, have been disproportionately on welfare rolls.
I'd like to
check. And there's not one explanation for that. And what I want to go back to, though, is education. Is that people who are in jail, not only is it expensive to government to house them, when they get out with the criminal record, they're much more harder to become employed and become tax-paying citizens. And so I think the government has been pretty much the services there are what people need, and one of the things that I get point in my new book is that manufacturing is about 2/3 of what it was in the 90s. Whether Republicans or Democrats have been in power, it's less. We have few manufacturing jobs, which were jobs that people who didn't graduate from college or had only, just had a high school could earn a decent living.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in here on this one thing. Michael's alerted to the bias in the system, and I want to go back to the Child Protective Services aspect in general seems to be sexistly biased against males, but that's not my main point here. And Lance, I don't know how you'll react. You may not like where I'm going this, but frankly, I think your position shouldn't exist. And let me explain why. I come at it from the founding fathers aspect and our Judeo-Christian ethic, that this is an issue for charity, local charity, because as Christ said, the poor will always be among you. And it is up to local charities to know who really is in need and who is a scammer and a con artist. And it's not the government's job to socialistly steal money from my neighbor on my right to give to my neighbor on my left. It is up to us to charitably be our brother's keeper. And I'm sure, last point here, you're aware of the Cloward and Piven strategy to bankrupt America through the welfare system.
Well, I want to make a distinction between welfare, the TANF program, Temporary Assistance to Needy Families, and child welfare. Child welfare that I did for 34 years is about children who have been maltreated in some ways. Neglected is the most common because of somebody has substance abuse. And
yeah, I can see some need for government involvement there, because that's kind of a matter of crime. Assault or abuse of a child is an illegality. So yes, fine. Yeah, thank you. That is an important distinction. I'm sorry, go on.
And so that is all my caseload. I had, when I was what we call a court worker. And that is where we petition the court for the child to be dependent. And we have to prove to the judge, just like in a criminal proceeding, that this child has been a victim because the parents left drugs around, or mom was DUI with a child in the car, or sexual abuse, or parents are mentally ill and incapable. Or very often, see, this is one of the points I want to make, is that not all the time, but infrequently, did I see a intact two-parent married family. That's very rare in the child welfare system.
Yeah. Well, we've discussed that on this program with several people several times. Yes, we have to do more. You've touched on it. The need to deal with the root cause of the main issue. Lack of an intact family.
Absolutely. I could agree with Joseph.
And that's
I could agree with you, Joseph, on that. But here's my.
That's part of the whole welfare.
Yeah, here's my question.
Of the family, Uncle Sam becoming the daddy and pushing men out.
Yeah, but hold on, Joseph. Joseph, hold on for a minute here. I gotta ask Lance something here. We're on the welfare system, right, which is a touching topic, especially in today's times. Lance, where is your thoughts here with where we become, where we gotten to as a nation, how we arrived to this point here with more people on food stamps and Section 8 housing and all these government assisted programs? Where's your thoughts on possibly bringing in testing with these individuals, making sure that these individuals are using this as a stepping stone rather than a career choice? Because I could tell you right now here in the state of Florida, not all areas, Florida does present a very conservative type of base here. But, especially in the Democratic areas, which we see a problem with welfare, some of these individuals, they're accepting the food stamps, they're accepting everything that's given to them by the federal government on a federal scale, through taxpayers. Mind you here, but do you think that some of these recipients receiving these benefits should be tested on a monthly or a weekly basis in order to obtain these services?
You mean drug tested?
Oh, sure, yeah.
I think that no, I don't think so. And let me explain why. Because the vast majority are not using. And if you have somebody who is using, you want that person to be connected to the system. You want that person to say, okay, I'm coming in. Yeah, I admit, okay, I smoke pot or whatever, which is legal in California and many other states. And by connecting with another human being, they will get into treatment. That human connection is what helps people build lives.
Lance, I'm not talking about smoking pot, sir. I'm talking about hard drugs. Using these benefits to sell the benefits, such as food stamps, to buy your street heroin and your hard drugs, so they can get their high. That's what I'm going at. I think these people.
I think there's a cost-benefit ratio there, that the expense of testing people is not going to get that many people. And maybe I just don't see that is acceptable. And the other thing is, it's sort of an invasion of privacy. Let's assume, that 95.
Whoa! Invasion of privacy?
Let me explain.
You're taking my handout? You don't have the privacy. And these are all illegal, unconstitutional programs of bastardization of the Promote the General Welfare Clause. It goes back to it should be charitable. Yes, these users should be in a charity who finds them help, not living off of my tax dollars.
Let me explain what I mean by that. Is that if you are a pilot or a railroad engineer or a truck driver, and you're involved in an accident, there's a DOT transportation testing protocol. And basically, they might make sure that your urine is warm, that you're not bringing in somebody else's urine. It's a disgusting thing. But there's a lot of people who fake tests.
Yeah.
And you have to observe that person. I personally have never done it. I'm glad that is farmed out. But you actually have to see the person pee.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with having so many innocent people being subject to the indignity of being observed.
But here's the thing, Lance.
There's a lot of people are going to cheat. The people who are using are going to try to beat the system. And in order to catch them,
but here's the thing.
Very invasive.
Lance, here's the thing. Here's the thing here. I want to bring here. You're not in favor or support of bringing in testing. Obviously, you've mentioned it. It shows invasion of privacy, and I get that. I really do. I get it. But here's my thing here. The reason why I'm in support of bringing in and invoking the testing is it balances out the system, where we understand where our bad apples and, our good people that really need it belong in that aspect. I mean, some of these people, have been on these benefits for quite some time. I could tell you, I was just talking to somebody just the other day, a woman, a single mother of four, right? Lost her job through the pandemic and is now facing almost homelessness. A mother of four was denied food stamps here in the state of Florida due to the fact that she said that, or the woman that, obviously, when you apply for food stamps, you have to go through a system and a process where you have to go through an interview process and this and that. Where when she went through the interview process, the woman that was interviewing her said that she was not qualified for food stamps because she was not looking for a job. Now, I can vouch for this woman has been looking for a job every single day, and the luck isn't there with her.
Yeah, there's that bias in the system. I agree with you. There's a whole lot of
a huge amount of
bias. Saying Lance does this, but there's a whole lot of these workers who have their own personal biases in who they grant these benefits to. And I also agree with Mike, and there needs to at least be some sort of compromise in the system, whereas you as the worker have the authority that if you suspect someone is on drugs, to require them to test. but
Well,
maybe
here's
not
the thing, Joseph.
everybody tests.
Joseph, here's the thing, buddy. Like, if there's no testing involved, this system is going to stay broken for generations after generations after generations, and you're going to see this country not healing, but literally breaking down and failing as a society. We have more people in welfare than ever before, ever.
That's the whole coward and pivot intent. And again, why we need to shut it all down. Food stamps are unconstitutional. Go to a food bank. That's the way it's supposed to be done. That's the way it used to be done. That's how we've got to get back to local people knowing who really is in need versus those just scamming the system.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is I have with that, Joseph, is that charity varies greatly from one county to the next. And so if you're a poor person, maybe you're deserving, you've lost a job, like the person said, you've been trying to look for work. And one county, you find a charity, and the next county over, you don't. So what food stamps does, it says, okay, we're all Americans. We're all deserving here if we fall in hard times. But what I want to get back to is why has there been this increase in food stamps? And mainly it's demographics. There has been, there has actually, you talked about subsidized housing. It's actually about 15% less likely for a family now to get housing than it was 15 years ago.
And why is that, Lance?
It's partially because there's not enough units. And I talk in my book on how to increase the supply. But I also think that we also need to, decrease demand. The other thing is that there's been a new federal policy that rightly gives priority to veterans, rightly gives priority to the disabled, and rightly gives priority to those disabled and seniors. So if you're taking that as a priority housing, and you have, say, 10,000 public housing units, and you give so many to those very deserving people for priority, for the regular poor, as I talk about, there's fewer units. So that's why.
But Lance, you mentioned there's not enough units. Are you referring to that there's not enough housing? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, partly, most people agree that there's about a $4 million unit shortage of just regular housing. And the point I make in my book is that, for each acre you devote to public housing, that's one less acre that you devote for the public sector.
But Lance, are you familiar with our infrastructure, our buildings? They're going up all over the place. I mean, I don't know how it is there in California, but in the state of Florida and other states around.
Savaged, unfiltered.
I mean, we don't have a problem with housing. They're building housing all over the place. What we do have a problem is the folks that do not want to step up and move forward. They like that handout. They like those government assisted programs. They want to remain on that because, hey, I can stay home. I don't have to, work, and I can live off the taxpayer. That's what I have a problem with, Lance. I don't know how you see it, but that's what I have a problem with. I'd like to understand, hold on, Joseph. I'd like to understand, you have a social policy that you wrote in your book for the 21st century. Where do you see our social policy going possibly in the next 20, 30, 40 years from now?
Well, one of the things I'd like to say, and what I'd offer is that we need to get our focus on men. That boys, every year, about 44,000, according to the Brookings Institute, boys fail to graduate high school than girls. And
my issue with the housing is the NIMBY, the snowflake virtue signaling crowd that want to continue the unconstitutional programs. And agree with you, we need more low-income housing. Look at AOC the other day when Eric Adams wanted to put up tents to help relieve the homeless situation in New York, and she said, no, you're not putting that tent in my district. NIMBY, these liberal, whiny, virtue signaling people want it in other people's backyards, and they get to take credit for pretending to be so compassionate.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think, my personal opinion, the welfare system has pretty much failed in its own aspect. I mean, it's getting worse and worse and worse year by year.
You look at the last 2 years. I cannot think of a period in American history where one administration has done more damage to the United States than Joe Biden in the last 2 years.
There's no improvement in the welfare system. Literally, like I've mentioned earlier in the show today, there are more people on welfare now in 2022 than there were 40, 50 years ago. And why is that? Because there's no programs that are helping these people get off the damn welfare. They're actually encouraging more people to stay on welfare. And I think we see that through the Biden administration. There really hasn't been solid policy coming out in the last 20 years or so. That's not just Biden. You go back to Barack Obama, you go back to George W. Bush. There's no involvement with these programs. Lance, this program that came out, food stamps and general welfare and all this Section 8 housing, subsidized housing, all these programs were designed as a stepping stone to get on your feet and better yourself. And we're not seeing that. You have to admit, as a social worker of your caliber, I mean, you have to admit that the social welfare system has collapsed, literally.
I'm sorry. I believe that people do get better, but I think you make a point that, yes, there are more people today on food stamps than there were when the war on poverty was first waged. Part of that is demographics. And that is the main thing, is that a woman who has a high school diploma is likely to have, and no further education, is more likely to have more children than a woman with a college degree. Women with college degrees have a negative birth rate. Their birth rate is about 1.9 child per woman. And that demographic reality that's what really is driving this, not whether we have a particular policy, and that's increasing. 2/3 of the children born in the United States today are poor enough, come from families poor enough to be on WIC. WIC is a supplemental program, women, infants, children.
Yeah, I'm familiar with WIC. We have it here in the state of Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody wants to live off the system on WIC. You really can't. You're going to age. Your child's going to age out of the system. But
yeah,
and that's why they keep having more babies. Yeah. But the housing issue, the housing projects have failed. The 60s, we built them all over in Detroit. They are all shut down. They were all condemned. They all had to be destroyed because we learned this before Marx and Lenin. The Bradford colony in the United States tried communism before Marx. Everybody was given shelter and food, and guess what? Human nature. They had no incentive to do anything, and they almost all starved to death. So they instituted private property and meritocracy, because if you give someone a place to stay, they don't take care of it because they don't own it. They don't respect it. It gets destroyed, and you got to have new projects built to move them to. They've got to be forced to be in the real American system of you work, you buy, you own, you take care of it. You have a stake in society.
Well, I think most of these public housing projects, a lot of them crime, because you concentrate a lot of poor people. That attracts crime, and the Cabrini Greens and the other places that large public housing. And so that the federal government has changed that. There's been a greater emphasis now on Section 8 housing, where people are moving to apartment complexes that are indistinguishable, or into an apartment that's in a regular apartment complex, and you have somebody. And yes, there are some people who are just never going to advance. I had a woman in my caseload. She worked as a cashier, and that's about it. That was where her life was. And that's as far as she could go. But without housing, she'd be on the streets.
Lance,
her kid, yeah.
Yeah, I want to get into this next topic here as we close it up here with you. What's your view on, obviously welfare, it affects a lot of people in this country, mainly the Black community, not to sound racist or prejudiced, though, but it does. We have a huge amount of Blacks on welfare. And We're still trying to figure out why. I understand why. It's, lack of education and sometimes fatherless homes show a huge majority in the Black communities. Little with the white community, but usually with Black and stuff like that. There is a fatherless environment there. But I want to shift the focus over to immigrants here, which we see a lot of immigrants now going on welfare. Used to never be like that, Lance. We used to have the traditional immigrant that would migrate from Mexico or Guatemala or any other nation near us, come to this country for a better opportunity to support themselves, possibly support their families. But we're seeing more and more immigrants coming into this country. And I'm going to use these words. Exactly, Joseph. I'm going to use these words because it's absolutely true. Lance, they're flooding our welfare system. They're bankrupting our country. More and more taxpayers are now expected to foot the bill for these people.
And that's where Cloward and Pivot. Yeah, that's where Cloward and Pivot comes in. It's a purposeful, intentional, malice of forethought action to bankrupt the nation.
Well, yeah, as far as there's all sorts of different types of social welfare programs, and you have to be a citizen to get cash aid. You don't necessarily have to be a citizen in California. You don't have to be a citizen to get medical care, considering that is an expense. And I agree that is one of these things that is is going to be taxing is on.
Yeah. Do you support that view from Gavin Newsom saying that you don't need to be a citizen nor a citizen of the state of California to receive benefits? Well, I think that's disgusting, if you ask me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, to get food stamps or something like that I am bothered by that. On the other hand, do I want someone to starve? No, but I think that one of the things I write in my book is I think that, like in agriculture, California's dependent upon farm labor. And one of the things I think is that we ought to go back to the World War II system. In World War II, there was a system by which Mexicans could work in the fields. And after so much time, they would return to Mexico and they got a end of contract bonus. But it was contingent upon them returning to Mexico. Now, a lot of them got stiffed. Yeah, they did, But I think nowadays,
listen to this. The U.S. just agreed. The U.S. just agreed to let 24,000 Venezuelans apply online for benefits and fly them directly into the U.S. for temporary stays. Now, some of these Venezuelans that have been in the country have applied for benefits, have applied for subsidized housing, and most of them were approved. Even in your state of California, Gavin Newsom just literally turned ahead on that. And it's okay.
I'm not familiar with that particular thing, but I do think we should move to a thing where asylum means asylum. Now, let me give a distinction.
Yeah.
There's a lot of women in this world who are mistreated. And that's a terrible tragedy. But that doesn't mean that a woman's entitled to asylum claim. Now, if a woman has a shelter program and she's doing something to help women, and because of her notoriety in her home country, she's subject to some sort of threats or something by the police, then granting her asylum makes sense because that advances the rule of law. And
I agree with that. Asylum as an issue there, but Biden is turning away Venezuelans, the ones who are actually qualified for asylum, escaping a tyrannical, fascistic government, and he's turning them away. But the problem here with like the Newsom and all other sanctuary cities promising to give taxpayer dollars if you just show up illegally is that it produces an incentive for still more illegals to flood the nation. Because we've all mentioned rule of law. We have to have rule of law. And I am all for legal immigration And like you alluded to, like the World War II program, we can discuss that. A legal visa system for where California can count on that basically new slave labor they want because they don't want to pay actual wages, livable wages to American citizens. But that's the new Democrat plantation slavery.
And what, Joseph, the U.S. policy does have the right to deny asylum. We have the right to deny asylum from anybody that's seeking it. If we feel that we should deny it, then we have that right as a nation.
But I think Michael, right now, my argument is that Venezuela is the one South American country where, under the rules, amnesty or not amnesty, sorry, wrong word, absolutely wrong word. Asylum really applies. Meanwhile, he's not turning back anybody from any other nation, millions over the last several years, but he wants to turn back 100 Venezuelans or whatever the stat is a day as a pretend show that he's now being tougher on the border, and he's targeting the exact people who would actually qualify for asylum while letting all the others who would not qualify for asylum to continue to flood the border.
Well, I want to say that I'm not an expert on immigration. That's not my field. I've had some people in my caseload that had immigration issues, but let me just say that I read a study when you said about sending people back, we have the right, that there's a great variability in federal judges that's, percentage-wise. This court will send back 10%, this other court will send back 60%. And we need, whatever the rule is, it needs to be applied uniformly amongst all districts.
Yeah. There's again personal biases in the system again.
Yeah. But I want to tell you, and even though there is a social welfare cost, particularly in education, border states, border cities, yes, they have to make a lot of effort to educate kids that are now in their jurisdiction, in their district. But that's only one part of what the tax on, or the demand on the social welfare system. The larger part is men that are not able to support their families, and what the system does to discourage men from doing so. Let me give an example. If you have a woman on welfare, say she has 2 children by 2 different men, and one of the fathers got a decent job, and he pays child support. His child support will be more than what the woman will get on welfare. So she'd be like a family of 2, one herself and the child. Now the other child, let's say that dad,
he's a deadbeat.
Yeah, he's a deadbeat. Why is he a deadbeat? Because if he picks up a job, any child support that's collected from his goes to the government. Doesn't go to his kids. He has no incentive. Now, you'd like, as a taxpayer, you'd like to say, hey, we want to get this guy and have him do his fair share. But what in practice is that it discourages men from being within the system, with being like, what I call the W-2 employee, the somebody who's working a regular taxable job. And most of the men not many of the men in my caseload cycled between cash jobs, no jobs, and because they didn't have any, the system wasn't encouraging them to be an involved parent because the child support, if you're making minimum wage or just a little bit above, and some child support, say you're really living at the poverty level, and you're going to be tempted to, if you got to put a roof over your head, you're going to be tempted to maybe do something that's a little illegal.
I understand.
You're talking about human nature again, and you are absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. What I've been alluding to this whole episode, the failure of big government to incentivize the wrong things and de-incentivize the right things, and why we got to kill these illegal programs and let it be done by charity.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what Lance is talking about. Lance, we're starting to run out of time here. Is there anything you want to bring into the show before we depart, sir?
No, I just want to thank you for having me. I think we need to have about these issues. We need to have a civil discussion and an intelligent discussion about how we can improve society. All of us are Americans. We all want a good, better world.
Well, except for the illegals scamming off our system. Okay.
Well, even they don't want to. Even they don't want to see the bomb on the street while their kids go to school. You know?
Yeah. It's terrible stuff what's going on. I mean, I have to point it out like that. Lance, I want to thank you for being part of Savage Unfiltered here with us, myself and Joseph. We really appreciate you coming on the show. For some of the listeners that are going to tune into the show here today on all major platforms, including iHeart and Spotify, where can some of my listeners find you at, sir?
LanceHillsinger.net.
Simple as that.
Lance, before you go, I think we can end on a note of agreement. I think we can all agree that if America goes bankrupt, we will not be able to help one damn person, let alone all the people on the cart that the people are trying to pull now. So we've got to reform the system. Otherwise, again, everybody goes hungry if we go bankrupt.
Right. If the ship goes down, we all go down. Yeah, we don't want that.
Lance, thanks very much for tuning in, buddy, and good luck with your future endeavors, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. So yeah, we just had Mr. Lance Hillsinger, guys, on the show. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Savaged Unfiltered.
Yeah. He seems like a good guy. If I were to have to peg him, I mean, he's in the system. He's part of the system, so he has a vested interest in the perpetuation of the situation. But I will say his important distinction of the Child Protective Service aspect as a matter of law and protecting children is indeed a viable or legal, proper rule of government. So I take back that I would like his job to go away. But my point stands about the general welfare system that should not exist.
Yeah. There was a lot of different things. Joseph, that I didn't agree with Lance. The welfare system has its perks, it has its benefits for those that need to be on it, but I just didn't agree with Lance on a couple things. I thought he he has a good point about things, but there was just some things I just didn't agree with. But we'll just leave it like that.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, hey. Are we going to get to actually hear the therapy twins today?
Hopefully. Hopefully Joan and Jane does understand that I have a huge amount of patience, so I want to. So, ladies, how are you doing this afternoon? Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Come on. Hello?
Now I hear you.
Hello? Do you hear us?
Yeah. Thankfully.
Yeah, you're coming in live.
Hi. Oh, hi. All right, so all I can say is decent. How about you guys?
We're doing good. We were just joined by Lance Hillsinger, which is the author of his book, Build a Better Bridge to Social Policy in the 21st Century. Joseph and I were kind of left in the bland, I guess, right, Joseph?
Yeah. Well, ladies, I think as to how I am, I'm okay. And I think you will appreciate this. I have my character say in the book a line I've been using for decades. Things could always be better, but they could often be worse, right? We got to remember that before we whine too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So,
did we lose the ladies again?
I hope not. I don't know. Ladies, are you there?
Oh no, here we go again.
I don't understand this. I think I don't know.
We're here. Do you hear us? We're here.
I do.
Now they do. You know what I have to do? I have to keep shaking the screen. How weird is that?
Oh, so it wants to go into like screensaver mode, and when it does, it apparently is turning off your microphone.
Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. You know what's weird about this telephone is I'm divorced, and I still get his texts. From my ex-husband. I get fucking texts. They go, they whine and shit, or to my telephone. It's weird. I told you we should use your phone, Jane. She wouldn't use her fucking phone. Her phone. She said, no, your phone is good, Joan. Yeah, I'll bet it's good.
Well, like you said, keep shaking it.
I will. I will. Good thing it's not a baby, huh? Shaking baby.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't have a SID case with the phone.
So what have you ladies been up to since the last time we chatted? It's been a while.
It has. We've
what?
I think we've made our living space a little cleaner-ish, or
We're outside, in the parking lot to where we live, telling the people that we're not robbing the cars. Our little car looks very suspicious near the tennis court because we couldn't get the internet inside.
Wow.
So I hope you think this is a good interview because we're outside.
Yeah, and to throw back to the previous guest, you're trying to convince your neighbors you're not homeless squatters.
Well, you should see the way we're dressed. We sort of look like that.
Oh boy. Well, Joan and Jane, you ladies, you live in South Florida, right? So I mean, you're going to get.
Feel sorry for us? No, don't.
Yeah, you're going to get that squatter type of thing, especially in South Florida, where people you could wear like a freaking thing of sweatpants, and they would look at you as a homeless person. No, I'm just jogging. I'm not homeless.
Right. Right. They have to give real instructions if they want people to show up appropriate.
I think they lost us again.
No, we hear you.
We hear you.
Oh, you heard us. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I was almost going to say I've dated a squatter, but I think I was name calling that day, and I think I just called him that.
Yeah, and they're still friends, and that wouldn't be too cool.
Do you watch the Gutfeld show on Fox News by chance at all?
We don't watch.
We don't watch the news.
Oh, okay. Well, the Gutfeld show, it's a late night show, so it's kind of like the other late night shows. There's a lot of humor involved. Pat Tim is one of the guests. She's from the Detroit area, and she jokes about Indeed dating some lowlifes over her life, and Indeed she did. She dated people who clearly only really wanted to date her. She seemed to be attracted to these people, to have a place, to be able to live off her couch. So what you're saying is actually applies in reality to some others.
Yeah. So Joan, why did they call you the Viper? How'd that come out?
Do you hear us?
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah.
Well, she called herself that, I thought.
No, it's my ex-husband. When we were married, he and Jane, actually, they thought that my words were hurtful to the point where both of them said that they would rather be hit and beaten by a bat instead of beaten by my words. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Come on. So I guess
my God.
words hurt. So when he said that you act like a snake, I said, which one? I asked him which one. He said, a viper.
A viper. Oh, okay.
So Jane and your ex-husband kind of at one point teamed up, but you landed up with Jane in the divorce.
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And actually, and he calls, whenever he calls, you know what he says? He'll say, Is Jane around?
All right, so we have Joan as the Viper. Like, what's Jane known as? Do you have a nickname or?
Oh no, but my father nicknamed her. Oh, Jane. I'm ruining the joke, but my father nicknamed Jane the lecturer. I used to call Jane something else.
The lecturer.
The lecturer, and then Saturday Night Live was pretty good in the 70s, and I did like Jane Curtin. No, I watched it earlier, and it was Jane, you ignorant slut. And see, we both ruined the joke. We both fucking ruined that joke.
Yeah, and the younger folks out there are saying, "What? Saturday night? What? They don't watch that crap. It's so crap these days."
That's right.
And they wouldn't know who Jane Curtin was, but I liked the joke.
Well,
I loved it.
Joseph, according to their website, they do have compassion. It says it on the.
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck finding it.
Oh, is that just for shits and giggles, ladies? You really don't.
You know what? Sometimes,
hey, this is the lecturer is
telling us.
The lecturer is
going to. Sometimes in life, if you know you should do something, and you'd rather be doing something else, sometimes you have to act and pretend you want to be compassionate.
So we are good actresses, is what we're saying.
You went exactly where I was going to go with that. I was going to make the joke. Like, they say, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV.
Yeah,
I was going to say the exact same thing. You're not compassionate, but we play it on the internet.
What we're actually known for getting people, and we don't ask, but we are known for getting people to tell us something that they've never told another human being ever. And it just happened on a podcast. This man kept saying, I don't know, I think he was saying the opposite. And then all of a sudden he said, gee, I never told anybody this. And I'm like, please don't. Like, it's on the air. First of all, it's on the air. Like, oh my God, flooding.
Yeah, I checked out one of the podcast episodes that you were on not too long ago through He Said She Heard podcast.
Yeah, well, what was really good, except for that phone call, was a little different.
The Australian, right? Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, that sounded like a computer-generated Australian or something.
Yeah, you got to give credit to where he's due. Bless the guy's heart for trying to get out there. You know what I mean? But if you're going to come up with some fake shit, I mean, at least come up with some really good fake shit. You know what I
mean? Yeah, absolutely. Because I used to tell people that they wouldn't know if I was lying or not. And it's not in a negative way. There's a fucking religion. I don't know if you've heard of it, Jainism. And
I didn't start it. But you know what? I do agree with a lot of it.
It's the Jane, you ignorant slut cult.
Yeah, right. It's first of all, you get to say that, but in this religion, you could lie to avoid hurting somebody else's feelings. So, I'm good at that, I think.
Yeah. I'm happy to. I'm going to be on his show actually next month. He reached out to me and he's like, I'd love to have you on my show and this and that. I'm like, well, I don't go on a lot of podcasts. I'm a podcast host, but I don't go on a lot of shows. But, I'll give the benefit of the doubt. I'll check him out, see what he brings to the platform and everything else. He's like, well, I heard that you had the Therapy Twins on like going back almost a month and a half ago. I was like, damn, it's been that long? Holy shit. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you know what, though? I think most people believe, and I certainly believe in an occasional little white lie is okay. Now, like, if you're ever married and the white we all know what the correct answer is there.
That's right.
That's why my marriage didn't work out for me, because I guess withholding
savaged, unfiltered
some information that I thought was something everyone should do. I think you should all keep something to your fucking selves. And I guess a lot of people just think that that's lying. So yeah, I am outcasted. I say get a divorce and hang out if you want to.
Yeah, you got into the divorce comedy the first part when we had you on about a month and a half ago. Something to do with divorce. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh,
But
wonderful.
we heard we heard some noise in the background. Is everything okay over there? No one's getting like killed or anything, are they?
No, there's these giant ducks that are coming around the car. I noticed they're big, and we were told you cannot feed these ducks. Yet our neighbor behind the fence is feeding them.
What kind of ducks are they? Are they white ducks or?
No, they're giant black.
They're black, white, and maybe some red.
Joseph, they're diversity ducks, man.
Yeah. I can't remember. Someone told us they are either indigenous to Florida or they're not. And I don't remember.
It's just this place where we are says you can't feed them, which I feel so bad because we just saw 2 cats. And I used to be Catwoman in New Haven, Connecticut, but I got these up.
Yeah, you told us about the New Haven thing. Well, don't feed the cats them. I think it would probably enjoy the cat, but that would be a terrible thing to do,
Yeah, no, I don't like that they're like that and feral. But no, I gotta we can't do it. We live in a very strict fucking condo over here with rules.
Now that we're older, we are supposed to focus on, a little bit of self-care, which has always been a little difficult for us.
Is it HOMO or what the hell is that called, Joseph? HOM?
Homeowners Association, HOA.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. And
I knew where you were going with that, but yeah, I keep a bowl of water out on my porch for the neighborhood indoor, outdoors, and/or ferals.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't put food out either. They usually take care of themselves, but I want them to have a place to be able to get a sip of water from at least.
Joseph, I put the water out and I put food out in front of the sidewalk, but I don't put it out for animals or anything. I put it out for the real animals and crazy people we have here in Orlando, for the bums,
Yeah, we're going back to the homeless of the last segment.
I guess so. People think I'm mean for doing it, but hey, I got to support my local homeless. They're hungry too,
Yeah, we have a group I live in Wyandotte. We say J. Leonard, Detroit, because everybody knows Detroit. You say Wyandotte, they're going to say what, where, who? Named after the Wyandotte Indian tribe. We've got a local church group, which this goes back to the last segment, Charity, who indeed goes to like my local favorite restaurants that I frequent, and they buy food, and these homeless people know particular benches where they'll put it out, and they can come get it if they're truly in need and hungry. And again, that's the way it should be done, to be our brother's keeper and help those really in need of a meal, not somebody scamming money on the corner to get a pint.
Huh.
No, I know.
But you never, I know.
It's for a good cause, Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their drunkenness, yeah.
I guess. So, Jonah Jane,
yes.
I wanted to get into this this book here. I wanted to get into it with you the first merry-go-round, so to speak. This book called Life Wisdom World Search, Yoga for the Brain, which you happen to your contributors, right, to the authors that wrote it?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
we are contributing authors. Yes, we were just asked. This woman who has a whole series of these books that turn into puzzles. She then asks a bunch of different people to do like a page, and so we did one on
zero question.
Jane. We had to come up with a quote, and we thought we came up with a compassionate quote.
Oh, we came up with a wonderful quote. Do you want to hear it?
We'd love to hear the quote. Yeah.
What was the quote? I know.
If you don't like,
okay.
Go ahead.
If you don't like what your mind is saying, ask your heart.
Oh.
And that's how we taught ourselves compassion.
But listen, the story comes from, Joan knows the story. It came from one of her firefighter clients or the firefighter's family member. And it came out like, when you think about what a firefighter does, is they're running into the building that's on fire. The rest of us are running out of the building or away, And so
we're getting the hell out of Dodge.
Yep, they're basically their brother's keeper. They're going to do the next right thing, however you want to say it, the next compassionate thing, and that's where that came from.
There. You got to listen to your heart, but at the end of the day, for the compassion, indeed, if the heart were a thinking organ, theoretically here. But at the end of the day, your mind, logic, and reason have to compel and suppress some of the stupid things your heart may tell you to do.
Yeah. Right. I know. Because Jane likes Jesus, and I sometimes I think.
Did we lose you? Shake the phone.
Here we are.
Okay.
But Jane likes Jesus, and I was going to say, sometimes I'll think, well, you give your gloves to a homeless person, but then they need your jacket too. Like, do I give everything away and then I die? So I could never be Jesus, because Jesus would have maybe whatever. He was just, today, obviously, it wouldn't go well for Jesus as well.
Well, you know what they say with the twins, right? Usually the one twin has all the intelligence and the other twin lacks a little bit of it. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, what's interesting about that, Michael, is I was born with a brain tumor, and I had a lot of convulsions after, and then until the operation. And a lot of times I am very concrete. Are you there?
Oh, well, now I almost sound like a jackass. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. The lecturer, he says he sounds like a jackass. No.
Because you know what? Here's what I'm going to say. I don't know.
She's a bitch.
Yeah. Here's what I want to say I do. I look at, sometimes I'll be like, well, instead of saying
savaged, unfiltered.
What's the next compassionate thing to do? I might not know what that is. So sometimes in my head, I might think, well, what would someone like Jesus do? What would Martin Luther King Jr. do? Gandhi, what would those people do?
Yep.
Right? So I don't know if you guys know this, but within a family, within a lot of different relationships, sometimes the one that appears to be nicer isn't.
Virtue signaling. And you're kind of alluding back to the first segment again. And the point I was making, if America goes bankrupt, it can't help anybody. And like you said, it's good to help others, but you can't do it to the point where you harm yourself, because then you can't help anybody else, even yourself. Yeah. And it's like on an airplane. And they lose altitude, the oxygen mask comes down. What do they tell you? Put your mask on first. Because if you come
Hey, Joseph, good luck with that, buddy. Sometimes, here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm going to do. If one person next to me says, put your mask on, I'm going to look at him and I'm going to say, yeah.
No.
No, he means the oxygen mask that comes down.
Oxygen mask we're talking about. You've got to put on your own oxygen mask, because if you come to asphyxia or dysphoria or whatever the hell, hypoxia, you can't help anybody else.
Right.
Yeah, I have to apologize, ladies, because Joseph understands that I suffered some type of hurricane disease from Hurricane Ian, so my brain has been kind of warped.
Yeah,
right, Joseph?
Michael's got hurricane brain, I call it, right?
Oh, well then how refreshing, isn't it?
I'm not a doctor either, but I play one during these episodes.
Yeah, right.
Because that squatter that I called a squatter also has a major head injury.
Yeah,
I'm good with head injuries.
Oh yeah, we see a lot of squatters around here in Orlando. So there's so many of them around. I was just I was over in downtown Orlando the other day, and I love walking around Lake Eola, which is the giant hole in the. Basically, somebody told me at one time that was an asteroid or something that hit the part of Orlando. I'm like, what? Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I could believe it. I don't know. I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. go smoke your ganga or whatever the hell you're smoking. And I'm walking around, and I see. Listen, I'm not prejudiced against homeless people. It is what it is. But at one point, there wasn't so many around downtown Orlando. But now they're all over the place. You can't even enjoy walking around the park without, stepping on one or, possibly tripping over one. You got to literally have eyes in front of your face all the time. I'm like, oh God, I dropped my coffee. I had a really nice cup of coffee and I dropped it all over. And then I spilt it on him by accident. And then he starts yelling at me, "You spilled your coffee all over me." I was like, what the hell are you sleeping on the sidewalk for? Jeez.
Well, they say nurses are homeless in L.A. on Skid Row. Yeah, because, the tax code is really kind of fucking a lot of people who just didn't quite make middle class. And it's really messing with people. Anyway, let's not get into a fucking tax code.
Well, especially in California with the commies that run California, the tax system. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we just had somebody from California on during hour one where he's okay with not invoking the drug policy into the welfare system. He's like, oh no, we don't want to do that. Of course you don't want to do that because you'd be out of business, right? I mean,
must have missed, son.
I don't know. Given your preference to be upbeat and joke, you definitely probably didn't want to hear the first half of the show. It would have dragged you down too far.
Well, Jane and I can get pretty dark because our joke is on other podcasts we've had to break out into song because people keep asking us what we're grateful for, and the thing goes so far downhill that I actually break out into "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend," that song, which I'm not even sure I liked back in the day, but I like it now.
It's a great song. Yeah, I listen to it every now and then.
Song, yeah.
I get very negative with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we're glad that we had Jan today because the first time we had Jan, there was crickets, but we understand. We had fun on that show. I hope you don't mind me putting the sound effects in there with the crickets. Joseph thought it was hilarious. But,
yeah, no, I don't. I think that's hilarious. I think that's great. Crickets.
Joseph's like, oh, we're gonna have them on. They're good for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes of conversations that we don't hear.
Yeah, and notice then we start to get dark.
Well,
Mackenzie had to do something to salvage that episode, and before we go, it was great to actually be able to talk with you this time.
Hey, ditto over here. We're sick of it breaking off.
Joseph, they're doing the shake the shake theory with the phone.
I'm doing the shaking baby here. I'm still doing it.
Well, you guys,
my finger's getting tired.
Yeah, you guys, I am. What? Oh, Joan, there's the duck.
Yeah. Okay, get back to this podcast.
Yeah.
Your fingers are getting tired. It's too much information, but we get it though.
Yeah, Jack.
What a no, you know what I want to say?
It hurts when you do that. Don't do that. Yeah.
What? When we do what?
Finger. Get back to the Jane. Get back to the. You were saying something, Jane.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm very bad with $1, and so is my ex-husband. And it's not a wonder why my son is a lot better with $1 than his two parents. So what I want to say is if I didn't have the help of my family, I could have been homeless twice.
Oh.
And so the only thing I want to say about the homelessness issue that is on the rise in America and the balance between taking care of our citizens and not is where something's wrong. I'm not sure quite what it is. Joan jokes it's the tax code, and it may very well be. But something is wrong when one big stressor that can strike twice and can happen and someone goes from middle class to homeless. Because you know how middle class is not eligible for a lot of services.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So something's not balanced.
Right. Well, that's because the middle class is the backbone of the tax code. We could talk about taxing the rich all we want. If you confiscated 100% of all the millionaires, billionaires' wealth it would fund the government for 1 year. The tax code is meant to soak the middle class to keep itself going.
Well, that's what they want to do, Joseph. They want to keep everybody in poverty. I mean, I think that system went back to even the Jimmy Carter administration. They do. You know, like if they see the middle class go into that next bracket in the income system, they're going to be like, "What? No, that cannot happen."
That. Right.
No. We cannot have a middle class person becoming a wealthy person and rich and famous and this and that. No. Then that defeats the purpose. Then where do we go next? Then they're scratching their heads and they're coming up with all different types of fucking ideas and this and that. And then you got crazy people in Washington coming up with agendas that just make everybody pissed off.
And what about some of them have had their jobs for a little too long? The ones that can never lose their job. I mean, come on.
We've got term limits in Michigan to help alleviate that situation. And of course, the career politicians in Lansing, our capital, put on the ballot for November 8th initiative to increase the term limits time. Because of course, they want to stay on the government teat, sucking off the taxpayers longer. No.
Wow.
We were founded as a republic. You are supposed to go and serve the people a short time, then get your ass back home, back into the private sector, not permanently collect a government paycheck. And that is part of our problem.
Hey, Joseph, maybe it's time for you to move to the state of Florida, buddy. I love Florida here. I used to live in Georgia not too long ago, and I can tell you right now what a great idea it was for me to move to the state of Florida. I'm like, you know what? What the hell am I doing in liberal Atlanta? Let me get the hell out of liberal Atlanta.
Yeah.
If I'm going to live in a liberal city, maybe I'll live in a liberal Orlando. Well, it's becoming somewhat conservative. Let's just say.
But a move from Georgia to Florida isn't quite so far or as big as trying to uproot from one of the utmost northern states to the utmost southern state.
Yeah.
Well, it's only Joan who moved. Jane's visiting me right now, but I moved because, Connecticut's too expensive. And it just so happened that our parents, they died within less than 2 weeks apart. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. So that our bank accounts left the building, burying them. And so now I'm in their fucking condo and I like it. It's very nice.
And I'm going to change my address to down here pretty soon.
No, you're getting rid of, you want to get out of Connecticut?
Jane does. Too.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? What's wrong with Connecticut?
That's an awful lot of money.
Our sister Lori would be very insulted because she and her family love Connecticut. And I think my son loves Connecticut, but I was honored to live in another state. And not that I'm going to rave about the other state, but it opened my eyes like, geez, Connecticut's not so good. And now Connecticut, it's very rich and very poor. Like the middle class is getting squeezed out at Connecticut.
Yeah. So, I still have hope for Michigan if we could get Tudor Dixon elected on November 8th, because the current governor is Connecticut or Californiaing Michigan. And we need to put an end to that. And back to the tax code, lower our tax rate so that people, family, and businesses, so that people have somewhere to work if they move here, can get back on track, and we can be a great state in the Great Lakes state tradition again.
Yeah, Joseph, that's not going to happen, buddy. I hate to tell you, but it's not going to happen. You guys are trying to be conservative, and that entire city of Detroit is going to stay blue for a very, very long time.
Huh.
I
think I bought a car in Detroit.
I think everybody bought a freaking car in Detroit at one time or another.
Yeah, but mine was a German car, I think, and I remember the guy who picked it up for me said, "Geez, this isn't going well." That it was a German car in Detroit.
Yeah. I once bought a car in Little Rock, Arkansas one time. Oh my God, what an experience that was. First of all, the guy was trying to sell me a lemon, and he was like, "This is the best running car in America today." I'm like, you sound like a 1960s car salesman. This is a piece of shit. Like, there's paint peeling off the bottom of the bumper in the back. The tires are bald. How the hell is this the best running car in America? Yeah, this is the best running car in America. He sounded like the dude from Caddyshack. Like just with that voice. He's like, "This is the best running car in America," and I'm like, "This car's a piece of shit. I'm not buying this car. Hell no, I'm not buying this car."
Yeah, I've owned two different Mitsubishis, an Eclipse, a convertible, very nice, and a Lancer, and they were both built in Kentucky. So, I mean, foreign doesn't necessarily mean foreign anymore.
Well,
right.
Joseph, you know what they say with people in Kentucky, right? You can't go wrong with a hillbilly manufacturer, right?
Right. And today I currently own a 2009 Pontiac Vibe, which is a joint venture with Toyota. Their version is the Matrix. So
that
it's a
joke went over your
car because Toyota was involved than it had it just been a Pontiac.
Joseph, that joke went over your head, didn't it?
I think it flew. It flew right over like a jet.
Yeah. That's why he went into the next conversation. We love him. We love him on the show.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it is wonderful. It's very wonderful. I think that's a Mikeism word though, but
Oh, you?
It's not. What's that?
You say wonderful?
Oh, I say it's. Well, it's a Mikeism word. Yeah, I've been saying wonderful for years, and people think I have some type of speech impediment, but I don't. It's just the way I talk. This is how I express myself. I'm from New York. This is how we New Yorkers talk.
You're so funny. The only reason we say it is because we swore so much. Every other word used to be fuck. So it got to the point where I had to start changing into a word, and I picked wonderful. I actually picked it.
I was almost going to say, and please, I'm joking around with this. You guys don't have Tourette's or anything, do you? Because you say fuck.
I think that maybe, who knows? Maybe I do, because they nicked something, guys. They definitely. You can't have 2 master's degrees and in science and then not be able to recognize a drug rep in the office. So my facial recognition's off, but there might be something else off too.
Yeah, didn't you tell me like in the first episode that drug reps or something at one time?
Yeah, but it's other people too. Like, there's security guards that live in my parents. They don't live here. In my parents' condo, they were very frightened, our parents. So there's a security guard downstairs. But Jane will always say, "Well, who was it? How the fuck do I know who it was? I don't know. It's my name. One lady's Nancy, then another. I don't know the other lady's name."
Well, you know what they say. Ladies. You know what they say. Like if you cuss a lot, you're showing intelligence. The most intelligent people in this world cuss. So be proud of that.
Oh, okay, good. Because our father, he used to call us his army buddies. Yeah. Actually,
was he in the army?
He actually said what you just said would have embarrassed one of my army buddies, because you know what, a lot of people don't like the word, and I'm so sorry if I say it, because I love the word cunt. I actually really enjoy the word. I think it's way better than vagina. I like it.
Oh boy. Can I tell you a story about that? I'll just be brief with it, because we're gonna close it out here. If I ever used that word back in the day, oh my God, my mother would slap me upside two sides to Sunday. She would say, "You can say any word you want to say in this world. Fuck, ass, shit, bitch, dick, dickhead, anything. Don't ever say that word cunt, because that's a dirty word." And every time I would say it, I would say, "Hey, Ma, she's a see you next Tuesday." That's a lot better, she says.
Yeah, and I don't.
Huh? You don't never want to.
If you're trying to look for some new sauces, try Heart Soul Heat. They're out of St. Paul, Minnesota. They have 2 amazing products called Ghost Pepper and Ghost Honey, guys. Tremendous. I've tried them before. It will make your tongue go crazy. Mention you heard it on Savage Unfiltered Podcasts. And it's very important, guys. Make sure you tell them that. Because I'm referring you, the listener, over to Heart, Soul, Heat. Check them out today.
Now you're back. You cut out again.
I don't like
Joan doesn't like saying "see you next Tuesday." She'd much rather someone come out with "cunt."
And the English people and women prefer the word "cunt" because cunt
in England
because cunt means triangle according to the English, and vagina means a man's sheath, and I don't like to be owned by anyone, so I prefer cunt.
Well, good thing that you're in the United States because, you don't have to worry about that because, women are allowed to express their views and thoughts here. It's what we call freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, some of it nobody wants to hear. At least what I gotta say.
But not
unfortunately, that has happened. If we could only go back to the good old days where women were meant to be seen and not heard. Just joking. I'm just joking, of course. I'm just joking.
We know. And our grandfather said it was children that had to be. No, I think he said children had to be locked in cages until they were.
He said men need to be locked in cages until they can handle that hormone called testosterone. That's what our grandfather said.
There you see the brilliance passed on by our paternal grandfather.
There you go.
Well, here's something here. I got some good news, really good news. You want to hear it?
Yeah,
sure. Starting in January, Joseph and I, and including Sauce that I have on usually during the week for the bonus episodes, we're going to be going to video in January.
Oh, that's fun.
We thought about going to video, just teasing it out with Riverside FM, but they apparently have this interest of freezing your face throughout the entire stream. Joseph was like, "This is getting terrible, Mike. How many freezes are they up to?" I'm like, "I think they're up to like fucking 40 by now." Apparently they love my mug, so they want to freeze it 40 fucking times.
Yeah, they freeze the video, but not the audio. But you're left wondering, well, has my stream froze entirely? Or is this just them doing it? So you stop talking. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't like that. And I don't like that. And I can tell you why I don't like it. Because, people will actually think and believe that, oh, my God, he actually has Wi-Fi that's not working correctly. No, my Wi-Fi and my internet was working tremendous. But it's the damn freaking network that does the freezing. Oh, let's freeze him. No, we're not going to Riverside. We're going right over to Restream. It's a tremendous network over there. So you're going to see myself and Joseph on video, which, it's good. I think the industry is going to video, and I think it's going to be a good thing for us.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, people like to see it is even who they're hearing, even if they're just listening, to occasionally be able to scan over and see. We're visually biased these days, and hopefully we can have the Therapy Twins back when we're on Restream, because the other good thing about Restream is that the interviewee gets to share with their platforms too. Like Mike's show, I can stream on my YouTube and Facebook channels at the same time. That way you, when you're on, can stream it to your YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or whatever channel at the same time.
And Joseph, do you do that for us? Because I don't think we know how to fucking do that. Thank you.
Well, you can barely get your microphone to work, let alone that.
You know what? We're gonna when I go back to Connecticut, I'm bringing back the headphones and a microphone. Yeah, Jack.
Oh, there you go. Hey, you know what I'll do? I'll buy you a Quadcast. It's probably the top-notch microphone in the industry today. Quadcast. They even have ones that light up, different colors. It actually make you look nice on camera. It lights up pink and yellow.
Anything that'll make us look nice. We will graciously say yes, even if you're
Jonah Jane, honestly, we're going to do the same thing. We got to get out of the 20th century and go to the 21st century.
Yeah.
Audio is great, but video is where it's at. So
plus communication is nearly all nonverbal, so that'd be really good.
That is you hit the nail on the head. Doing this audio is hard. We sometimes talk over each other. Whereas with video, you could see each other. You could get the visual cues better as to what's going on in the conversation.
Yeah, and Joseph, I want to thank you for doing that because Mackenzie, every time when you talk, she's like, oh, fuck, I got to edit like fucking 10, 15 minutes. But it's all right. It's great. We'll do like an hour and a half episode like we're doing now, almost 2 hours. Well, it'll take us like, what, 8, 9 hours to edit? Joseph's like, is the fucking episode out yet? Is the episode out yet? No, fucking Joseph. We got to fucking edit everything. You won't let me fucking talk, man. Commas, period.
Hey,
some of this sounds familiar.
He's got the show all 7 days a week. Sometimes he's doing episodes. I only got these few chances, so I got to get my shots in while I can.
Joseph, I give you too many fucking shots. It's the thing. No.
Yes, thank you, Michael. You are really nice to me, and I do appreciate you having me on Mondays and Wednesdays. And this week, I'm even going to be on with you tomorrow. So you are very gracious. And while we joke about it, I want to express my appreciation.
You're damn right I'm nice to you, Joseph. I put your trailer into your book. Not every episode, every other episode. I don't want to do it every episode because I think I'd be like, damn it, man, he's promoting his book like crazy. You're goddamn right I'm promoting his book. You're doing good with your book, Joseph. I'm proud of you, bud. But one day I'm going to have my book out. I don't know what the hell I'm going to call it. Probably Idiots and Dickheads. I was going with that.
How about shut the fuck up? I would love to say that to some people.
No, I like Idiots and Dickheads. We were going to go with that. It sounds like a really, really great title. Idiots and Dickheads.
Yep, that sounds good.
Joseph, you think that's a good title?
Actually, it is probably pretty catchy. It will catch people, and then they may want to know, are you praising idiots and dickheads or criticizing them? So
how about we can do both?
Right. It's any given case. Right.
Because, as nurses, I got to say, every time you either get the job or you go through your evaluation, they want to know your weaknesses and they want to know how you improved upon those or however, because I was never an English major. But yeah, I can actually, do other things as a nurse, but not speak correctly all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You never know. But Joan and Jane, thank you very much for coming on. We're great to have you back on. We're glad the audio has worked. Better.
Thanks, Toyota.
After all they said, I think it again would have been better if they were just seen and not heard.
Oh, that's terrible.
Hey, Uncle Joe. Hey, Uncle
like
Joe.
that of me.
Yeah.
That's known as a comedy callback.
Yeah, Jack. Okay. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Joan and Jane, you guys can find them all over the place. Their website, thetherapytwins.com or therapytwins.com, right? There's no right?
There's no but they'll find us either way.
Yeah, just Google search Therapy Twins. They're all over the place in a good way, not a bad way. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. And you ladies have a good rest of your weekend there in sunny South Florida.
Thank you, Michael. Bye, Michael. Bye, Joseph.
Bye. Take care,
Bye-bye.
Joan and Jane. It was great officially finally meeting you.
Wonderful.
Ditto.
Take it easy.
Okay.
So, Joseph, what'd you think of the Therapy Twins, buddy?
Yeah, it was great. I listened to the episode you had them on that was working before the disaster when we tried to talk to them last. And I enjoyed that episode and encourage people to go back onto Anchor and view all your past episodes. Certainly check out more of the episodes that I'm with you on, but specifically look for that episode if you liked this episode with them. It went really well.
Oh yeah, really well. Joseph, hold that thought, buddy. I have to get this in because if I don't, they're not gonna pay my damn podcast anymore. Anyway, guys, I want to say thank you to a new sponsor here we have on the show, Heart Soul Heat, with their amazing products from the makers of Raua Benavadis. If I'm pronouncing your last name, buddy, wrong, I do apologize. It's one of those names that the pronunciation is not there. So I do apologize. Heart, Soul, Heat, guys, they're amazing products, known for saying, I'm not into heat that will hurt you, but I want to open up your taste buds. So, guys, check them out. They're out of St. Paul, Minnesota. You can find amazing products on heartsoulheat.com with their ghost honey and ghost pepper barbecue sauces.
I'm glad you clarified that, because at first I thought you were talking about a furnace company.
Oh, no, not a furnace company. Hold on, Joseph. I got to finish this last part because you're interrupting the damn sponsor, but it's okay. But, guys, check their ghost honey, ghost pepper, all natural, vegetarian, excuse me. It's been a long episode. Vegetarian, gluten-free, and non-GMO. It contains no artificial sugars or additives. Folks, check them out today. Mention you heard it on the Savage Unfiltered podcast, and they're going to give you some really, really good stuff.
Amen. And I'm a big proponent of shopping local. And people, these podcasts aren't free. Michael has put a lot of money into doing this. Thank you to this sponsor and any other sponsors, and indeed show your appreciation to the sponsor for helping keeping Michael on the air.
Yeah, it does keep us on air, and I want to get into another sponsor, and then I'm going to be sponsored all out here because I'm done with the sponsors. But I got to plug them in every now and then because they do like that, and it puts a smile on their face. Guys, sponsored here by liverishi.com. Thank you very much for keeping us in your thoughts for the last 5 months. Probably one of our longest sponsors that we've had yet. And it's continuing. I mean, we pick up sponsors, guys, here and there, but this sponsor has been really loyal to us. So I thank you very much for keeping us in your thoughts and allowing us to be sponsored by you guys. So it really means a lot. Liverishi.com, handcrafted in the state of Arizona, but it's also crafted by nature. Liverishi CBD natural oil company. Has been around for years. Hit that promo code Savaged Army for 20% off. That's right, guys. Remember, use this the promo code, which is a new one. We had Savaged Unfiltered for months, but they made us change it. So it's now Savaged Army for 20% off your entire order. Great stuff, guys. Joseph, I'm about ready to close it up, buddy. Anything else you want to bring into the conversation?
No, just want to again reiterate thank you to these sponsors because it is important. There's that comedy, Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin and that. And they do a podcast in the show and they joke about the whole issue with sponsors and that too. But indeed, in all seriousness, thank you to them. It is important. And please, please not support. Please imbibe yourself into these sponsors' products to let them know that we appreciate them and their appreciation of Savage Unfiltered.
Oh yeah. One more thing too. I forgot. I was going to say it earlier in the show, but I got to get this out. I want to thank a couple podcasts, hosts, and shows coming up here, guys. What the hell is it? The first week of November, I'm going to be on the show He Said, She Heard podcast, which if you listen to this episode, the Therapy Twins happen to have the opportunity to be on that show. So Mr. Mike Fox has reached out to me. So thank you very much. Hat tip to you, Mike Fox, for allowing me the opportunity to be on your show next month. I'm going to be looking forward to it. Also, too, this week, guys, I'm going to be on the Yogi Podcast Network through the show, The Nightly Rant. So thank you for the opportunity for me to come on your show. I really appreciate that for allowing me the opportunity. So check out that show through the Yogi Podcast Network, which is a really, really big network, guys. So it's an honor to be on their show. Also, too, guys, we are going to be on another show. I just forgot the damn name of the show because it's still in the works.
Oh, there's that hurricane brain again.
No, Joseph. There's a show that we're in the process of. We're still waiting for them to confirm it. Mackenzie shot out like 5 fucking emails, and they still haven't. They've been failed to anon to receive it. And I don't think it's the hurricane brain. I think I'm just getting old. I'm hitting those 40 mark, and I think that's what they say when you get to be 40, man. Everything kind of slows down a little bit. But I hope not. I hope not.
Well,
I thought
I turned 60 this year, so you're still wet behind the ears in my terms.
Yeah, I guess so. I thought you get this when you're in your 60s, right? I hope not.
Well,
maybe.
Again, not being a doctor, but playing one for this episode, it does seem, it varies for everybody. But yeah, I mean, as we get older, obviously, the brain does start to definitely slow down and other issues. So it's different when it kicks in for different people.
Yeah, I don't have dementia or nothing like that, folks. But I just remembered. It's the Fraser Chronicles. Yeah, we're gonna be on his show this week on the 22nd. He does pre-recording, so look out for that. Probably like the next day or the day after that, the 23rd or 24th.
Yeah, the preacher man. We just talked to him the other day. Not coincidentally, in that Therapy Twin episode that went to hell in a handbasket, he came in at the last minute. So that was a great show. I'm glad you remembered it.
He was a preacher, man. He saved the show. He came right into the last minute. Mackenzie shot him an email, and they're like, "Hey, but Joseph, he wanted to come on the show. He had intentions to come on the show. He was like, I want to come on your show. Your show is tremendous." I was like, "You were on my show before. You want to come on again? Great. Okay, come on."
Yeah, I again, that's another great episode. Both of them. The one that he helped salvage the what was Brian, the other guy that was dull, and then the Therapy Twins, the crickets issue, and then he came and salvaged that show. And then even further back, I listened to that one. I was confused. I thought I was on with because we discussed it. I had listened to it, and that was a really good episode for people to go back into the archives to dig up also.
Yeah, it's a huge library. You're talking about Brian. The hello, Brian. Yeah, like that Brian. Yeah. He's good. I checked into him not too long ago on one of his shows because he has a show, and it's it's on Spotify and a couple other platforms. He hasn't hit iHeart or the big ones yet, but he'll get there.
Yeah, and that's worthy of mentioning again. Thank you, iHeart Radio, for having Savage Unfiltered on it now, because that is the one. I have TuneIn Radio and iHeart Radio on my phone. I don't use my phone for a bunch of different apps, but those two are great for tuning into, indeed, for radio, podcasts, even music on occasion when you want it on your phone. And that.
Joseph, I'm sorry do you have to wait a long? I'm always curious about iHeart. Do you usually have to wait a long time for the episodes to launch?
I haven't paid attention lately, so I really can't answer.
Yeah, because I noticed that Spotify is usually the first that gets launched, and then shortly after Spotify, I know it's Apple and Amazon Music, and then because a lot of the listeners that tune in now, they're like, "Why is it taking like an extra day and a half for iHeart to launch the episodes?" I'm like, "Listen, Mackenzie and I, we do not have the power to that. It's all through Anchor. When Anchor FM, when we upload it to Anchor FM, the recording." Anchor FM does all the launching. We don't do any of the launching. So I just want to clear that for you folks, that we don't have the power to launch it and the speed of the launching. It's all through Anchor FM. So,
and that might be an Anchor issue. They may want to withhold it from iHeart a day in order to keep exclusive content of you for a day.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think it's Anchor, because I'm told Anchor FM is one of the fastest throughout the entire industry. Of course, there's other ones. Riverside FM is a sister company of Anchor, but Anchor is literally Spotify's company. Spotify bought out Anchor like 7-8 years ago when it was a small little independent company. But that's what I'm told. I'm told Anchor is the fastest out of all of them. Of course, you have a Cumulus and you have Westwood One and all the other networks out there, but Anchor is like usually the fastest. So maybe it's just an iHeart thing.
Yeah,
maybe
a lot of our area is Salem. Salem Broadcasting is good. I like them. But yeah, I mean, the content we do, thankfully, doesn't go stale a day, or even a lot of it a week, a month, potentially a year later.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, Joseph. The ones that I first came out with when we were known as the Kitchen Angle podcast, and then shortly after that, it was Patriot Angle. I have listeners right now tuning into episodes that were like 2 years ago. And I'm like, man, I did that like 2 years ago. Thank you for your support. But what'd you think? Oh, it's wonderful. I'm like, oh, man, I sucked back then. Like I was doing a lot of like, I was having some type of groin attack or something, But it's been good. Nice little almost 2-hour mega episode today, which I think we're going to call it the mega episode, one of the mega episodes. But you got to be proud of me. Joseph, hold up.
You have Savage Breeze, and then you have mega episodes.
Yeah. I was going to say, you got to be proud of me, man, because I've done this whole episode without a bottle of water. I usually have a bottle of water with me, but
yeah. What about the notes, though?
Every great podcaster needs notes. I'm not scripted. I don't read off of a teleprompter in front of me, but you always have to have notes to know who the hell you're talking to.
Yep. I agree.
Joseph, I'm not a fucking genius, man. I don't know everything about all these people. I don't know where they were born, with the type of car they drive, the color of the house.
Well, yeah, that's another comedy callback, throwback to an episode that I was teasing Mike about losing all respect for him since he needed notes. It's just a joke, just joking around, having fun. We all need notes. And like you say, especially as we get older.
Yeah, so I want to do one more announcement, then we're closing out, because no more announcements. And drive you people crazy with announcements. Guys, tune in tomorrow on Soslin's show. We're going to have Sports Tuesday, which I'm a part of now every Tuesday. So you want to check that out on every major podcast platform, including iHeart, Spotify, Google, Apple, Amazon Music, Audible. God, Soslin is up there like me. I got him into all the great networks. He's like, I want to thank you, Michael, for making me part of iHeart. I'm like, I got some oofs in the networks. I'm just not some schmo off the streets. I've been in this industry for 20 years before podcasting was podcasting. But Joseph, I want to close it out, buddy. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, again, thank you. I really appreciate you having me. I mean, there was a time that I considered doing a podcast, and I get people telling me all the time, since I speak on politics everywhere all the time, that I should get a podcast. And I did the book Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You. I put money into that instead. So I really appreciate you allowing me to come on with you. It's as if having my own podcast Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yeah. We wanted to make you part of the panel on Mondays and Wednesdays, and it's great having you on. Before we close out, you said podcast. You got any shows you want to plug in? Are you going to be on any shows this week, or?
I'm actually on. I think this is recording though, so not live. Tuesday, October 18th at 3:00. I think we're recording out of Ocala, of all places, of course. So. Kind of up the road from
Ocala, Florida?
Yeah, focused on writing show.
Yeah, it's about an hour north of me. Yeah, heading towards almost Georgia area. Yeah, I know where Ocala is.
Yeah, I've been to Ocala. I was in Ocala for a couple weeks back when I worked in the IT for Kmart Corporation. Of course, they have no stores or warehouses left anymore. But yeah, Ocala's a nice place. They got them little lizards by the bazillions running around. I love them little lizards. I hate palmetto bugs down there, but I love the little lizards.
the little geckos, but you're not going to like the big giant lizards that look like dinosaurs down in Fort Lauderdale. Oh my God. You know, Joseph, I got to say this one story and then I'm closing it out because I'm tired. Do you know one time down in Fort Lauderdale, this was during around January when it, got a little cold. We had a little cold snap that happened. And what happens is they freeze up and they become rock solid. And if the thing falls on you, oh my God, it can give you a concussion. Well, it fell on my shoulder, and I wound up having to go to the hospital and spend 3-4 days in the hospital. I dislocated my left shoulder, and it was oh my God, it was oh yeah. The doctor was like, "What happened to your shoulder?" I said, "I got attacked by a lizard." He said, "What?" I said, "The thing fell from me from a freaking palm tree. It fell off the palm tree, and it fell on top of my shoulder."
It sounds like biblical apocalypse. Frozen lizards falling from the sky, kind of like the Exodus, frogs falling from the sky.
Yeah, it was, it was right in East Las Olas, which is a part of downtown Fort Lauderdale. And, there's people looking at me and everything, laughing. And of course, they get their cell phones out and they got to, film it and stuff and get their 5 minutes of social media fame. And I'm screaming in pain. I'm like, oh, my fucking shoulder, my shoulder. And everybody's walking past me until like this little old lady, she must have been like 80 or 90. This was like, oh God, maybe 10 years ago. She's probably dead by now. But anyway, she comes up and she's like, are you okay, Sonny? I said, oh, my shoulder. Oh God. She's like, those sons of bitches over there, they won't help you out, huh? Little old Jewish lady. She actually called the paramedics for me and the EMS, and they came and everything. They're like, "What happened?" I explained the story. I'm like, "Oh, I got attacked by a lizard. It fell off the palm tree." They were laughing their ass off, of course, because it was humor, but story.
All right. Well, I know you got to wrap up, and I got to run. I'm scheduled to make meatballs for dinner at my sister's house today, so I've got to get going too.
All righty. All right, guys. Remember to hit that like and follow button, and be considerate. Leave 5 stars on Spotify. Greatly appreciate it. All right, guys. Thanks very much.